Get Into Gate. This is episode 49. We're talking Stargate SG-1, the full Get Into Gate team. My name is Mitch. Joining me, as always, Matty.
Oh, I thought that was a cold open we had. Obviously not. Hey!
Hey! Brendan.
When you were talking about penises. Hello.
No, he'll edit around that. It's fine.
Not anymore.
Not
We'll have to start again if he's going to edit around all this.
And we push on. So we are Get Into Gate. We are talking Stargate, all things Stargate, how much we love it. Introducing our very own Rhys to the show for the first time. The rest of us three gibberers in here, long-term fans of the show. So while we are talking today, Season 3, Episode 5, Learning Curve. As we do each and every week, let's revert to the DVD synopsis and see what this episode is all about. As part of an exchange program with the planet Orban, O'Neill travels to Earth with an alien girl who possesses incredible technical knowledge. But by the time O'Neill discovers the truth behind the child's superior mind, it may be too late for them all. This whole Richard Dean Anderson getting credit on everything is getting out of control.
Like he had
Yeah, that's
really
crazy.
nothing to do with her until
It's
the end.
O'Neill heavy. And for me, that synopsis isn't really that bad compared to some others.
Yeah.
But I always think, when I look back on this is more of a Carter episode for me.
Well, little whatever her name is literally hands the Naquad generator to Carter when she
Merrin.
walks through the gate.
Yeah.
And Carter's like, okay, you need to show me how this works.
It's only because O'Neill kidnapped her at the end.
Yeah.
Is the reason it's about him.
But I kidnapped her for the right reasons.
That's it.
Change the
I
world.
could court-martial you now, Colonel. Yeah. I kidnapped the young girl. Try me.
Rhys, we got child prodigies and kidnappings. What do you think?
Yeah, I was honestly, I didn't hear a word you said when you were reading that because I was looking on the front of the case as you were holding up, and Tilk's got this pose, sort of like trying to be a scorpion or doing the haka. I don't know. We'll probably take a photo of that and put it on the socials. But what is that?
Just look.
Is that looks like from well into the future, that episode?
I can't even tell what episode that's from. It's definitely not from the 4 on this disc.
He's wearing a black singlet, so
Yeah.
It's not from when he gets a girlfriend and...
No, that disc would have come out before. And his facial look was different when he got a girlfriend, remember?
Yeah. Strange days
Very
indeed.
bizarre.
But yeah, learning curve. So yeah. Another child
Abduction.
abduction.
By
Like
O'Neill.
O'Neill just
Surrogate.
surrogate. Just Carter and O'Neill just
Yeah.
sharing this one. But yeah, look, it was interesting. I didn't mind it. I couldn't really understand. I was trying to understand what the whole reactor thing was.
Yeah, it's
For?
basically like a massive power source, something that we're not capable of. So Carter managed to
Like
replicate
a-
it in 24 hours.
Yeah, and completely different design. It's circular instead of theirs,
Yeah.
which is cubed. But
Yeah.
basically, it's so the element that the gate is made of, which is Naquad, which
Yeah.
what they say is like a powerful superconductor and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, these Albanians or whatever they are have managed to make a generator that runs on Naquad, so it produces
right.
like Stargate level amounts of power.
Ah.
So
Yeah.
they're teaching Earth and
Still not
handy.
enough
How to make
to reach another galaxy, though.
No,
But a staff weapon, like the
Well-
power source from the staff
Yeah.
weapon. Can...
Well, we've seen them use 2 truck batteries. Why don't they?
yeah,
There's no difference. So this generator's just instead of magical vines, I'm guessing.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Right.
exactly.
yeah.
We won't see any of those
Nah.
manual dials episodes anytime in the future.
No, they'll just chuck one of those generators in Carter's backpack. So we'll always have that.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Oh, next,
And,
it'll take her just a couple of hours just to miniaturize it,
yeah.
to build a new one, a mini one.
Yeah,
But-
it doesn't get too mini. It's slightly smaller, but
Yeah.
it's pretty much still remains that size.
Mm.
Circular in design.
Yeah. Another episode I've noticed that we spend more time with an alien off-world than we have on Earth than we have with Teal'c in 2.5 seasons. Like we still haven't
Yeah.
had like a Teal'c just getting
Yeah.
to know Earth.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, let's spend 20 minutes watching this girl paint a picture on a canvas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Cassandra 2.0.
Yeah,
That's
well,
what it
yeah,
felt like.
Cassandra got the dog,
Yeah.
and then he talked about a dog to What was the
Marin.
name? Marin.
Marin, yeah.
But no, he's no, we'll take her to a painting class instead.
I actually forgot that Cassandra wasn't in this because when he took her to the school, and I'm like, oh, does O'Neill come do talks? Because all this
Yeah,
is like
that's
Colonel
exactly what I
Jack
thought.
O'Neill. And I'm like, how
Hey,
does
bambino, esta banana,
Hey,
pistachio.
Hey, it's that guy that hangs out in front of the school all the time.
Speaking
What's
Italian.
It's me, Mario.
But he takes Marin there, and I'm like, they mentioned Cassandra to the teacher, didn't they? And I'm like, oh, is she going to pop out and basically like give the credentials and all
God.
that, like
Wouldn't that be terrible?
to Marin and go, look, he's good. This place is fine. Come play with the kids. You'll get used to it. We're all aliens here, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, she wasn't. But I think I still did like her more just because she served more of a purpose and helped them create some tech and stuff.
Yeah.
And we're trying to save her from her upbringing.
Here's a fun bit of trivia. The actress when she grew up a little bit, went on to Smallville and played a member of the Justice Society, Stargirl. You might remember from DC.
I don't know that I actually made it that far in Smallville.
No, I'm just talking about the character of Stargirl.
Oh,
It was
right.
just recently in
Oh,
DC
yeah. Sorry, I do, yes.
in,
yeah.
what was it, Legends, I think
Yeah.
it was. So she played that similar character. Opposite Michael Shanks as
Hawkman.
Hawkman.
That's right. Wow.
Yeah, both members of the Justice Society.
Like 10 years later.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sweet.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit of fun.
I think I like this episode with the concurrent, like, what the storylines going on. Like, you're on the planet and, Teal'c and Daniel slowly starting to question what the hell's wrong with these kids? Why are they being left in charge of learning the most incredible things that we've got and to tell us all this incredible knowledge? And then on Earth as well with, this chick being really weird and the fact that she's got these things in her blood and things, and so they're both coming to the same conclusion but different ways. So I liked the way that the episode was structured. I think the first thing I really took out of this, and it happened straight away, this is the most Daniel has been in a
he was
long
in
he's in
his
his element.
element.
Oh, I'm so
I
absolutely.
think
excited.
he spent the entire episode just sitting on his ass, just around the DHD, just
Ching,
chipping up
ching,
tiles.
ching, ching. Oh, and then-
Do-rag, just
Yeah,
loving
the
life.
do-rag, yeah. But when
Yeah.
he first discovered, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something about their origins and about how they got to this planet.
Oh, I wouldn't use the word origins,
Oh,
mate.
okay, yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah, we don't use the O word here. And then that the father figure, whatever his name was, brings in is it Tommen and says, "Oh, here, tell Tommen." And Daniel's like, "So anyway, this is an incredible thing." And I think and he
didn't
leaves the
care.
father figure. And I'm like, you're telling a child like about his history and his
Yeah.
people's history, like. He was so excited. He was so Daniel Jackson in that
like-
moment. He didn't even think that
Yeah.
maybe what he was telling this small child was too much
I
for
will
him
just
to
tell
take.
anyone who listens.
Yeah.
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 It's like pointing him in a direction and he just talks to that person. Instead, I'm sick of talking to you now. Move to him. Oh, and then this happened. It's like,
Fun fact, the kid who played Tommen, the actor's name is Lachlan Murdoch. I had a bit of
Oh,
a
really?
yeah. I literally had to look it up. I'm
Wow.
like, no, it's not
does
that
this
Lachlan
mean?
Murdoch, is it?
like Rupert Murdoch's son.
The media
Right.
mogul.
Owner of the building.
Owner of the building.
Yeah. Oh, that guy. Yeah. No, I just meant for the overseas listeners.
No wonder why
who,
that kid was such a good actor. I mean, with a name like that.
Absolutely. And if you want to sponsor the show, Lachlan, jump on board.
And then the little chick that he was replaced by when the other guy comes and says, no, Tommen's gone, you must learn from Solène. Here's Solène. That's actually Sergeant Siler's real life daughter.
Was it?
Wow.
Oh, there you go. I thought at first I was like, oh, they must be born smart, and as they grow older, they just get dumb.
Like,
Because when
Like a Benjamin Button kind of intelligence thing.
Because when she said to Carter, "Oh, what, you weren't always this smart?" So I'm like, oh, okay, they're intelligent when they were born, and then obviously the dad has no idea what Daniel's talking about.
Wasn't he a weirdo?
Yeah, I was trying to remember how. Obviously, I've seen this episode a long time ago, and I was thinking, does every kid go through this stage, and then they get the procedure, and then they basically go back to infants, and then they grow up to the level of intelligence that this father figure was, where they're obviously very well in their functioning and stuff, but they're just nowhere near as smart as these children. But yeah, it's like they're selected. Did we get an idea of like what kind of percentage of children are selected?
Yeah, I
to?
kind of felt that it was only like 10 to 20% because anyone else wasn't able to get the nanites again once they gave them away. So it wouldn't make any sense because then all adults would be lobotomized more or less.
Yeah, which was the one kind of plot hole I found. It's like, well, I would have liked to have seen at the end when they're all sort of learning to play and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I would have loved to have seen them interact with the non-Urom children. And it's like, and I feel like if they'd done that from the start, these children would have been like playing and learning like that anyway, because it appeared to be a learnt behaviour. So it's like, well, why didn't they just?
Yeah,
Because they didn't have school or anything there. Like, they sort of just
No.
chucked these kids in a room and fed them 3 times a day.
they're being looked
Yeah.
after. It doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Look at Tommen. He looks
Yeah.
sad as
Brutal.
So like when do normal kids when do the normal kids start getting their nanites from them?
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, are there 10-year-old kids out there as smart as all the adults because they've got just as many nanites? So
And
that
how-
was the.
Yeah, true.
if
How
it
would
was
that
all
be an
kids-
honour?
Yeah.
They talked about age, didn't they? How
Yeah, they had to be
Tommen was
12
like-
to be in the ovarium, to go
Yeah.
through the ovarium.
Well, that was isn't the ovarium though when all the nanites are taken? From
Yeah.
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 But then it's like, well, how old do you have to be to receive
To
one?
receive them.
yeah.
Yeah.
And receiving them,
Well-
like they said, each person gets one nanite from this one person. Like, how much knowledge does that allow them to? Because it's not like that one nanite is taking every piece of knowledge that this brain has, and it's like they're giving away 1 million copies of this guy's brain essentially to the other.
Oh, that's what I assumed.
But then why wouldn't they all be like brilliant?
Yeah.
If like they've
The
got
dad
nanites
seemed
from
retarded.
yeah, like everyone older there just seemed like unable to fathom what SG-1 was trying to tell them. The kids could understand. I'm like, okay, so if you take a nanite and you give it to everybody, theoretically everyone else on the planet is actually far smarter than, or at least a broader range of knowledge than these
you
kids.
think with all that intelligence, they figure out a better way to.
Yeah, because it was a bit. To me, I'm like, oh, that theoretically, what they're telling us, it should be a little bit like Gould's genetic memory. Like they've got the memories of everyone that came before them in their
Yeah,
line.
it's a bit like that.
But I'm like, well, in that case, why isn't the father figure? I keep saying the father figure because he was the father to Tommen, but he wasn't Merrin's father, was he?
No.
No, yeah.
What was his name? Kalen.
Kalen, there you
He
go,
would have
yeah.
been
Jeff
in charge of the kids, I guess.
Yeah. I guess it would have been thinking, like, applying real world practicality to it. It's like, well, to make sure that there's enough nanites for every person on the planet would mean they'd have to enforce like some kind of population control, because if the population gets too out of control, well, then there aren't enough nanites to go around. So then they would have to start selecting. It's like, okay, well, this information that Tommen got about Gould, maybe we'll only go to a certain section of academics and defense ministers and all that sort of stuff, but then general population might not get it. So yeah, it's a weird premise.
I assume they got the knowledge because once Tommen went through the ovarium, his attitude changed towards the Goa'uld and defenses immediately after that. It was like, please tell this kid what we can do to prevent this from happening to us.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa. And then when Merrin went through her ovarium, they're like, he was more kid-like. Oh, come and have a look at what everyone's doing.
Oh,
Painting and stuff, which I didn't get because, like you said, the drawing and stuff looks like a learnt behaviour with playing. But if she gave all her nanites away, then she wouldn't have that memory.
Yeah, but I'm guessing it was set up by another adult who did get those memories and like, hey, we can teach the kids something.
Oh, no, see, to me, I got it as, because if you remember when Merrin is sent back through the gate, she takes the crayons with her, the gift that she got from Jack. So my theory on the way, like my thought on the way to the end of the episode was all her memories were taken, but because she still had that box of crayons, she kind of retained the picture of Carter memory and all that sort of stuff and started playing and drawing. But then also, obviously, the nanites were distributed and the picture of Carter became like a cultural thing because then Kaylin gave the
What's
picture
that?
of that
That's a
to
picture
Jack.
of me. I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, you are.
It's not. It's Carter, you fraud.
But Carter didn't even draw the hair. It's like when she first drew that picture, when you see the cut, she just does a stick figure, cut to what you actually see, and suddenly there's little hair marks on it. It's like, Meta Tapping didn't draw those. Come on, man.
I like that.
It'd
even
be
though
funny if you cut to it and it's just a Rembrandt.
Can I tell you the thing that annoyed me the most about those kids?
The laughing.
Come, you got it. Look, listen to that fake laugh.
Isn't
in
it
the
wonderful?
background. It's like from an audio
And
library.
who plays ball like that in a circle?
Oh,
They're aliens, man. Give them that.
when I saw that, I'm just like, oh, that is terrible.
that laugh there
Yeah.
is just. That's,
I expected
that's
more
an
from
audio
Martin
library.
Wood blocking.
You put an echo on those laughs, and you could put it in a bloody horror movie.
And if you listen
Yeah.
to that entire bit of audio there, not a single bit of backing music anywhere.
No.
And it's like this show is so known for putting in extraneous backing music, and
Yeah.
that nothing. It's just shuffling foot sounds
And you're just
fake
looking at the
kids
kids
laughing.
playing with the ball, and it's like, that is not natural. Even at the school where they're like, hey, take Merrin, and they're like, and like 3 kids went behind her and pushed her along, and then like playing she was the most natural. She was the best actor in the group, obviously, but just like looking at the ball as it hit her in the chest.
I thought that was so hilarious. Just watching it as it just smashed her. Other kids are like, it's fine, we'll just keep playing. Like, if you're a kid, you're like, what the hell is wrong with you? We don't know you're an alien. You're just weird.
No kid's that nice.
Wouldn't it be funny when you cut to see them at the end and they're deliberately just pelting it at each other's chest and no one's catching it because that's the only part Merrin remembers? So the game is just hit someone in the chest with the ball and just whoever it bounces to next. Oh, it's my turn now.
They got their international sport. It's pass the ball. And to this guy, and to this guy. Oh my God, this is an exciting match.
SG-1 go back in 2 years and they've created Quidditch. And it's like, whoa, you guys have really advanced here.
That's what I was thinking. Like, the hopscotch and pass the ball and drawing on walls, like, that's all they'll ever know. Because they haven't learned how to have an imagination. Yeah. They've just learned from Cassandra 2.0 how, like, when she saw things. And so they're not going to create more games or more art sort of thing. Like, that's what they've got. I mean, better than what they had, sure, but how boring.
Suddenly they'll morph and it'll be trying to draw on the wall with the ball and pegging chalk at each other or something like that. Will be the new games. It'll just be interchanging things.
Wonder how else you could play with their minds. Like, if you go and show them a movie, like a sci-fi film or something, like something really weird and wacky and mind-bending, and you go...
Clockwork Orange.
And you go, this is pretty standard. And then, like, they work as that as, like, a basis. Yeah. And then they
sociopath.
They come up with...
Bone tomahawk.
Eyes wide shut.
But I've always thought, like, imagine if you were able to go back to, like, the 60s or something and you take something like, Avatar. It's like, you tell them you're from somewhere else or even from the future. Like, we've been to this other planet and there's like, there's these blue cat people, going around. It's like, holy fucking... Or, show them Transformers. Like, there's these, like, trucks that turn into alien robots and stuff. It's like, wow, this is fucking mind-blowing. Like, what does someone do when they see that and think that it's normal? Like, you could have a lot of fun with those. That population.
The Office.
Could be a fun...
What is it? This is what life's like in the future.
That could be a fun grandfather paradox. Someone went back in time to show someone Avatar, and then that's it, like someone from like Microsoft or Apple, and then they created the papyrus font off that. They went, oh, I like those titles. I'm going to make a font like that.
So at the start, like they were pretty advanced pretty quickly this race, because at the start, Carter was saying they learnt more in 10, or they advanced more in 10 years than...
A few decades, she said.
Okay.
But still, like
a
shit ton fast.
It's almost like the brief candle people, because they had nanites, but they kind of made them grow old and stuff like that. It's almost like, imagine those people suddenly in 10 years figuring out how to manipulate their nanites to do what the Urom children do it and learn and pass them on and transfer them stuff. So it's pretty advanced in such a short amount of time.
Just how different those two planets are. Like, these kids are getting lobotomized after and spreading their knowledge to the rest of the population. Over on the other planet, they're just partying for 100 days,
like
just sleeping around,
belly
and
dances
eating wild
and pizza
food
cake
and shit. I know which planet you'd like to go to. You don't want to get nanites? Please send me to Pizza Planet. Please send me to Pizza Planet.
Pizza Planet.
But these guys have got hopscotch.
Hey, we need to address something else very unique about this episode.
Oh?
Who it was written by. We've got another female writer!
Is it only the second one since...
Heather E. Ash. It's the only, as far as I'm aware, it's the only other female writer besides Catherine Powers.
Wow. Okay, and this is her first one?
This is her first one.
What about Robert C. Cooper?
One for the sisters.
Oh, zing.
So she's a season 3 story editor, and she ends up writing 5 episodes. This is the first one. She goes on to write Foothold, New Ground, Beneath the Surface, and then ends it with a pretty bad one, which is season 5's Cassandra episode, Rite of Passage.
Well, you can't polish your turd, as Brendan says.
Going back to the start there, where it's kind of the opening, you're seeing the gate and it looks red for some reason, but I'm assuming that's lighting in the room, because I'm like, ooh, a new type of Stargate. Yeah, it's red.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
And then you're panning across to Daniel, and then he's teaching these kids how to be an archaeologist, basically, how to use the brush strokes and be careful. And immediately I just sort of... Mitch's idea of Daniel showing worms in the garden to children, like that Daniel's backyard idea.
Come along, children.
These
Archaeology
do-rad-
is fun.
Hello, children. I'm Daniel Jackson, and this is archaeology.
Today we're going to make a compost.
But then he goes to the mural around the DHD, and then he's trying to figure out how, what the pyramid is outside, which it turns out to be Aztec. But then you never find out what that mural is underneath. And then, being skeptical of his archaeology skills, he's just pushing those rocks across
Just
that
sliding.
mosaic, like just ruining it.
And then he picks up one, and it's got like an indent of like a serpent guard
Yeah.
on it or something like that.
And it's got nothing on the underside.
Yeah, it had a snake head, didn't it?
Yeah, but it had nothing on the mosaic, which I would have assumed if you're pouring
Yeah.
concrete on a mosaic, you should get the
Right.
pattern of the mosaic. No,
Yeah, it's like where he pulled.
It's just a prop. So
Yeah.
no, it's not.
I kind of.
We've been through this.
calm down.
I kind of want to. Just when you said Aztec, I kind of want in my head. I'm already like auto editing, like intercutting scenes between that and from The Simpsons, where Lisa's like Aztec, Olmec to Maggie, and I'm just trying to figure out in my head how it's going to work.
Because he said there was something there that was like pre-Aztec, wasn't it?
Yeah, they predated the Aztec. Yeah, you're right.
Don't know what it
Something
was.
important though. He said.
Gonna be too
Obviously,
important.
Very important.
When I thought so, buddy.
No, that's when he goes. You will tell this guy, and he's like, okay, I don't care who I tell. I
Yeah,
need
I
to
just
get
need
this
to
out.
And then
I finally got lines in this episode. Yay!
Or the Aztec goddess of water, and he showed Tilk that thing. What was the name? Kakapakachakabakala. Like way too long.
Amaroka. What?
Madwana
Yeah.
Hakalugi.
You can be a big pig too. Oi.
Yeah, and then he tries to say the same thing to Tilk. No, you're not talking to Tolman anymore. You bloody talk to this guy. And Tilk's like, no.
Nah.
I love it.
Oh, God, that was good.
Take me to Tom now.
Yeah.
So good.
And he was like, oh, okay.
All
Sure.
right,
It's not possible. Yes, it is. I'll make it possible.
you are big, so all right, this way.
I love that when the kid goes, oh, I know why the Gwauldus are so feared if you're their warriors. I'm like, yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why he was
That's
like.
right.
That's why he's like, I want Toman back because he's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's like, yeah. He's like, I want to intimidate that kid some more.
Well, I guess that's where it does bring in that hashtag fathers, Matty. Like, you had Teal'c sort of show that care for Tom, and at that stage, he's like, this doesn't seem right. Like,
Yeah.
take me to the kid. Like, he's a guest in that world and in this and in the way that they do things. He's like, no, something seems off to me. Take me there. And even O'Neill, who really had nothing to do with Merrin for like 2/3 of the episode, so it
Yeah.
seemed. And then he's like, hang on, what's going on here? This is what's going to happen. No, you're coming with me. You're actually going to live like a child, because it wasn't so much surrogate, son or child 3.0, but he did, obviously, he's trying to let this kid live because his kid was alive and then was being a child, but then was taken. So, I kind of like that. I'm glad it wasn't an entire episode for O'Neill doing that.
So, episode 5 of the season. So, for us, Mitch, that means new disc, which also
Oh, yeah.
means new special features, guys.
Oh.
So, I really want to.
You made something?
No.
Oh.
I just want to include some of these because obviously, Rhys being the first timer, you're watching these on streaming services, so you don't get the bonus features unless you pay $20 a month.
But not
No,
even.
it's more than that.
Even if I did, they're not up yet. Oh, shit.
I digress. So here's some special features for Rhys.
Right, thank
This
you.
is season 3, episode 2 disc. It's a profile on Carter.
It's not the whole thing, is it?
No, I've edited it heavily.
Whenever SG-1 needs expert advice on traveling through time and space, they turn to the best, the brightest, and the most beautiful. But don't let this officer's looks fool you.
I take it you're Colonel O'Neill. Captain Samantha Carter reporting, sir. I didn't realize when I took it on that it was going to be such an action-adventure sci-fi show. I thought it was going to be more
Star Trek.
intellectually based in terms of my character being, the scientist, and I'd be struggling with these great scientific problems. But now on the show, it's become this great physical show for
Great
me,
sound.
which I never
Someone's
imagined
been there.
myself doing.
I did not add those.
So for me, that's a great challenge. It's also a great gift to, to be given something like this as a woman, especially, to be given this.
One
Glad
for
we
the
emphasised
sisters.
that.
Yeah.
Wonder if she's on
The
parody.
thing for me with this character is she's a cross between Jack O'Neill and Daniel Jackson. She's the perfect hybrid of these two men. She's got a military base. She's a captain in the Air Force fought in the Gulf War. She's also a theoretical astrophysicist, so her scientific background is very strong. So
Plus
she
a vagina.
skirts this line, which for
Oh,
me
don't- she'll
creates
remind you in a
great
minute, don't worry.
conflict to play because it's, do I go the scientific route or do I stick with military protocol? And so she gets to play opposite both men and have strengths with each of them.
Now, just pause it there. When you said that it was heavily edited, how long did it go for?
5
like
minutes.
8 minutes.
Okay, good, because this one goes for 4.
Yeah.
Okay, we push on.
Yeah, are we're still
Officer, just like
okay.
you are, Crew.
Well, no, the point being is she's
And
just talked about
because
all
my
this great
reproductive
female
organs are on
stuff.
the inside instead of the outside doesn't mean I can't handle whatever you can
And they
handle.
just included the organs on the
In the
outside
final
right.
episode,
thing
the
as
writers
part of
gave
that.
Amanda a brief moment
there
to
is
poke
two
fun
things
at
I want
Richard
you to
Dean
hear in
Anderson's
this.
former television series.
It took us 15 years and 3 supercomputers to MacGyver a system for the gate on Earth.
In reality, she has nothing but praise for her co-star.
He's really lovely
Get
to
it?
work with. He's got a great sense of
In
humor.
reality.
He's very generous and
She
he's
put up
fun.
to it in
And
the
I mean,
pilot.
having had the amount of experience that he's had on series, he really looks out for us and knows when to fight and knows when not to. And so he's sort of
Saw
our
the music
champion
change.
of causes.
Yeah.
And he's a lovely man.
romantic.
He really is. Not only that, but we have a great crew, and I think the sense of humor on this show is what keeps us going because we work really long hours and really long days, and it's
you
a
poor
huge
thing.
show. But everyone has a great sense of humor.
Do you want me to go back?
In the episode Point of View,
Do it,
Amanda
we
got
didn't
the
hear it.
unique opportunity to
This should be a show that entertains.
Oh, no spoilers for Rhys.
Hang on. That was the bit that I wanted you to hear. This
The
is
bit.
a show that this is a show that should entertain. I swear this is verbatim what Chris
Teal-
Judge
Yeah.
said. Like identical.
This should be a show that entertains and that allows people to think beyond what they normally think about. Maybe take you to a different place and make you ask questions. But, is that possible? Yeah, it is.
That's definitely
it
what he
is.
said.
Yeah. Oh, and then I love the generic question: if the Stargate was real, would you ever go through the Stargate? Yeah, I'd go through the Stargate.
Who would say no?
Yeah.
Hey, Maddie, so
Yeah.
did they already retcon the episode 1969 with what happens to Tilk symbiote in this? Because he was telling Toman that if the Goa'uld doesn't get a host, it dies, and then so does he. But in 1969, he said if the Goa'uld matures, it'll take over him.
That's a good point, actually. Maybe he just didn't want to terrify poor little Toman by telling about the implantation procedure and
Yeah.
crunching in through the back of the neck and taking over
Yeah.
his body or something like that. Like, my symbiote would find you an excellent host.
I suppose Teal'c would have to do that a lot, hey, like being a Jafar, who's obviously Shalva, but everyone knows Jafar as they are and they're evil and blah, blah, blah. He'd have to try and sort of lie to people like that.
Just soft pedal it.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not that bad.
No, no,
You know,
no.
we're
Yeah.
manipulated.
I was like that, but
We're
not
enslaved.
anymore.
Yeah. Yes, I've wiped out entire towns and many children, but, I
I've
was,
killed at least 1 million
I was
people.
made to. It's not my fault. Blame Poffus.
Hey, don't shoot the messenger, man.
I mean, I've shot a couple of messages on Poffus's orders, but,
Plenty.
Morgra Jafar language. He walked in, I think Daniel was chipping away as he was for most of the episode on the floor, and Teal'c walks in and says, Kel-Mel, Dr. Jackson.
Oh yeah, I had to rewind that. I'm going. Did he say that?
Yeah, what
I
is
missed
what is Kel-Mel? I'd
I
forgotten
mean,
that term
I think it
since
means
watched
like, what's up? What's happening?
Yeah.
Sup?
What's up, Daniel?
Sup, bro?
Sup, brother?
Kel is sup, Nell is bro.
That's the Jafar version of like the Black Jafar going, what's up?
What's
What's up, my Jaffa?
Yeah, but Daniel immediately reacted to that, obviously, because he can speak Goa'uld. He speaks 23 different languages. Pick one. Yeah, because he goes, "Oh yeah, Teal'c, we found this." So it means like what's happening or what's new.
Yeah, okay.
What
I
have
could
you
imagine.
discovered? Yeah,
Yeah.
what's news probably good. What's
Yeah.
new?
What's new?
What's new?
What's news?
Kel Nell.
Sup,
So-
dog?
You're right. Yeah, but that was weird when they ended up going to see Toman, and he's like, "This is your son. What the hell, man? Like, why are you treating him like this?
Yeah.
He's been fed and stuff. He's got a blanket.
Well, yeah.
What
I
else?
mean, no windows, but he's fine.
Yeah, Well, he's your son. No, my son's in here. I was like, whoa.
Now, they also
That's
said
weird.
Freaky, yeah.
Yeah.
this procedure had only been in operation for 49 years. They've
Yeah.
been doing this. So that father didn't look like he was 50, but he wouldn't have been too much younger than 49. So he would be from a time, like he would have been growing up in a time where most of the people, would have been controversial. Yet it seemed so foreign to him that anybody would be against it. Like how
his
else
parents
do you learn?
would be able to tell him what it was like.
Yeah.
Like one generation ago.
Yeah, like in a way they would have said to him because he wasn't chosen. Like surely he came in. He was born after the Averium stuff started. They would have been like, thank God you didn't do that because look at what children are when they had this procedure done. You know, they don't get to be real or whatever. Like it seems so strange that he was 100% against it and couldn't fathom why they were.
Yeah. What is teaching? Please explain.
Yeah,
It's like
what? There is a better way to learn.
To me, it was just like everyone was just acting so selfless. You know what I mean? Like, how does this affect me or how does this affect my family? It's for our community. And it was the same way that Merrin was thinking when SG-1 were like, no, you can't do it. Like, you don't understand. And she's like, no, I understand. Like, my people.
You don't understand.
Yeah.
In 100 years, we will cane you guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They could be. Imagine if you had a society that worked together like that, you would be invincible.
Yeah.
If the Goa'uld worked together like that, then they would just own the universe.
Yeah.
Like if the human race did that, we would be interplanetary travelers already.
Exactly. And I think that's the point of view that they're looking at is just like, it's such they're all giving themselves to the ultimate goal or the pinnacle of what they are trying to get to, whether they know what that is or not. That really got me thinking when they were like trying to convince her, but she was just steadfast. Like, no, my people need my knowledge. Like, it's fine. This is what I want to do. It's a privilege that I can serve my people like this.
Yeah, it was a great point of difference compared to other episodes where we see stuff like this, where certain members of the civilization are taking advantage of others. There was no malicious nature to this. There was no malicious intent. It was, this is the best way we can do it while your mind is a sponge and can learn at an exponential rate. Yeah, and then you can help the rest of us become better people. Maybe they get to a stage where they don't do this nanite stuff, but maybe they don't. This is just the way they are. So yeah, it was kind of nice that they were doing this bad thing as far as us Earthlings are concerned, but there was no ill intent about it or anything.
And it was only bad to us because we're not used to it, I guess.
Yeah.
And the only thing really they were doing wrong is not looking after the kids in a, I guess,
nurturing way.
Yeah, nurturing, progressive way after they've given their nanites away. Because obviously they're now dumbed down and they don't know anything. So I guess,
looking after them physically, but not looking after them mentally.
Yeah, that's right. So I guess teaching them after they do go through the ovarium was really, or not teaching them was really the only thing that they were doing wrong in this whole situation.
It would have been cool if they found out that they had been, taken to like an island paradise sort of thing. Like once they'd given all the knowledge they could, well, they were taken. So I mean, that would have been a real dark turn as well.
The Undying Lands.
Yeah, he's
Lord of the Flies.
Like you have won a ticket to the island.
Yeah.
In a lottery.
The Hunger Games.
And then Teal'c goes over and he sees they're actually in this like tranquil paradise.
Yeah.
And they're basically like they're honoured as like they're superstars of they're veterans of their civilization, which would have been really cool. And it's like, they get all the great stuff. They are being looked after. Yeah, I think that was the key thing, was that they were stuck in a room and fed and showered, but otherwise left to themselves.
Yeah.
Just on that point as well, like Daniel was arguing against it, and the dad, I can't remember his name, Kalen gave an argument which changed Daniel's mind, and he's like, well, I didn't realize it was going to be another 12 years before we get that knowledge, so I didn't know that. I'm like, I liked that Daniel was open-minded enough to realize, but that guy's argument wasn't that great.
No.
To make, like, I wasn't even going, so?
Yeah, if we don't do it to this kid, we're just going to have to do it to another one. Oh, yeah, I guess.
I didn't realize,
What are you going to do about that? Like, might as well be this one. It's really inconvenient if we don't do it.
We need it. I enjoyed the painting scene. For some reason, it should have been creepy, that whole scene with Jack in the school. But I don't know, Richard Dean Anderson, give him more props than he deserves. He just makes it fun. Like, he's like, no, bigger. And it was just, I had a smile on my face for that entire scene.
Yeah.
I think the blocking was good too, the way at the end like the way they sat next to each other on the little windowsill, just kind of looking at the painting, like they were kind of equals in that. So there was none of that, sort of old man, little girl creepiness factor brought into there at all, which I think was
I didn't even.
done.
I was trying to make a joke about it, but I couldn't even find a little snippet
and geez,
out
if
of
you
it.
can't, no one can. So
And even that nice character moment with him where it says, paint something you love, and then it cuts to 10 minutes later or whatever, and one of the kids is actually painting Jack, and Jack walks and has a look and goes, I look fat. Like he's paying out the kid's painting, but he's doing it to like the kid's probably not taking it wrongly. Jack's not paying the kid out per se.
Yeah.
And in that's the way he delivered that. It's like, well, he's delivering that the same way that he would deliver a condescending line to a fellow adult on the show.
Yeah.
In a more hurtful, intense sort of way.
Yeah.
But you knew how he meant it. You knew how the kid was going to take it. In that setting, you understood why the kids loved him.
What we didn't see though is that kid cried itself to sleep.
Yeah. Colonel Jack hated my painting.
Rip the painting up.
And there it is.
There's the
I can't
joke.
recover from that. But when she finally, realizes she doesn't have time to paint the whole forest, and the detail goes away, and then she draws the representation of Carter the way that Carter did. I finally thought, oh, she gets it. He's gotten through to her, and then she goes, "Is it right?" And he goes, "Oh yeah." I'm just like, yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's cool.
So cool.
Hashtag fathers.
Yeah, that's what I love.
Shut up, man.
That's a thing.
That's the only time Brendan's not dead inside.
Yeah, because he has to not be.
Stargate and his kids. That's it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I loved. Where she was like, no, that's not right. Like, it was really her intenseness.
Yeah,
was like that really come across, and was like, no, it's not right. Like I have to do it right. There's a structure of everything that I do.
Like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
No work, Mitch.
Just calm
Boom.
down.
But we never found out what the mural was about, and we never found out why the Gould left their planet, which I was actually more interested in than the Naquita generator.
Yeah.
Like Daniel's whole arc just ended once he realized what the ovarium was.
Yeah, and had they have written something crucial in it, that could have been setting up the back end of the season or something, or season 4 or something like this. Just could have been a little
just anything to say. Oh, it was this Goa'uld.
Do you reckon it would have been a cut scene?
No,
it might have been cut for
maybe.
time.
Surely.
Maybe.
I suppose either way, it wouldn't have really had any sort of result, like any bearing on the ending, because it was all about sort of the kids and us, pounding some liberty into this system of government. And
Marin, you need freedom, and we're going to supply it.
That's what we do.
Here, have some C4. Should be able to blast
That's a freedom explosion right there.
All right, that's episode 49 of Get Into Gate. Learning Curve, Season 3, Episode 5. We will be back next week to talk Point of View. Until then, you can catch all of our podcasts on SoundCloud and iTunes. Search Get Into Gate. Catch us on the socials, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Get Into Gate, a Stargate podcast, or drop us a line, getintogate@gmail.com. Myself, Mitch_Lewis, Twitter and Instagram. Maddie!
At High Pitch Maddie on Instagram.
Brandon!
At the Brendan Gibson on Instagram.
What the hell is that?
Wow.
What's it like to work with Richard Dean Anderson?
Oh, Fran Drescher.
Yeah.
And Rhys, where can we find you?
I am at the Flying Gibson.
Leave a bloody iTunes review too. Get into it.
Get an iTunes review.
Get into a review.
Get into your mate.
We did have a wave of them last time we said something. I feel like maybe we were yelling at people. We weren't. We were just asking politely, but thank you anyway for writing and some wonderful things. There was one person in the room they thought could improve, but we'll leave that alone. Okay, no one took that. Okay, no, they didn't write that at all. They thought we were all brilliant. 5 stars.
Absolutely. I was like, who? Who did that? Let me know.
Okay, we'll see you back next week. Episode 50. Can you believe it?
Whoa.
What? Of Get Into Gates. Point of View. We'll see you then.
GetIntoGeek.com.
We should do something for that.
We should celebrate. Like, bake a cake or something.
Well,
No, we'll just make something special for the 100th.
Yeah.
Do a musical episode or something.